Time to begin what you are here to experience. Give you all a few seconds. Everyone, please settle down. Well, a very, very good evening to you all, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kavish. I will be your MC this evening. Before we start everything that we're about to experience here tonight, can I just ask you all right now, let's give the Sunbet team a huge round of applause for putting all of this together. What an experience we're all having here to start off this year's Durban July. Thank you, team, so much for being here. The Sunbet Racing Panel discussion brings together some of the most influential voices in the horse racing industry. The media are invited to engage with the panelists after the discussion and capture key moments for coverage. So before I introduce everyone, I want all of you guys to get comfortable. Of course, have your notes ready because you guys are going to hear some insights as to who might win the big day. Also, let's break the ice a little bit here. I want you guys to turn to the person on your left or right now. Turn to the person left or right and just shout out a number. 1 to 18. Just shout the number out. Shout it out loud. 3, 2, 1, go. Y'all don't even know what numbers we're shouting out. I'll just ask you to shout it out. All right. I love it. Remember that, okay? Anything can happen, of course, all right? This is the beautiful Sibaya. Thank you so much for hosting us. Now, let's get straight into it. The panel discussion, the moment you've been waiting for. I'm about to introduce our panel. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to put your hands together as I call them out. He is a trailblazer in South African horse racing, having made history as the first black jockey to win the prestigious Durban July. His remarkable journey and victories have inspired many, and he continues to be a respected figure in the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, Samanga Khumalo, everyone. Let's give it up for SK. He is an internationally renowned South African jockey with experience riding across Asia, Australia, and South Africa. Known for his skill, consistency, and professionalism, Callan Murray, everyone, has become a global ambassador for South African horse racing talent. Show some love, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, he has celebrated horse racing as an analyst from Glitzian, known for his insightful podcasts and sharp racing predictions. Joe has built a strong following on his Facebook platform. His analysis and global perspective bring valuable depth to our discussion. Show some love, everyone. Joe Damata, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, our official host of the Sunbet Racing Panel discussion. You've heard his voice. He's a seasoned broadcaster and racing commentator. He's renowned for his in-depth knowledge, sharp wit, and charismatic presence in the horse racing community. With years of experience covering top-tier events, he will guide this evening's conversation, ensuring insightful and engaging dialogue between our expert panelists. Everyone, please show some love right now. Nico, everyone! Ladies and gentlemen, also joining the panel, he is the head of trading at Sunbet. His years of expertise in the trade, and he's here to give some insights to how the markets will reflect. Please show some love, everyone. Representing the head of trading at Sunbet, Lionel, everyone. And ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to have him here with us. Known as the legendary footballer, he's also deeply rooted in the world of horse racing as a passionate racehorse owner and breeder. His insight into both sports and bloodstock add a unique dimension to our panel. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Owen. Make some noise, everyone, make some noise. This is a moment right here. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I now hand it over to Nico, who will begin tonight's discussion. Remember, after the discussion, I encourage all of you to stay back as we've got something really, really exciting. I will lead you guys on that later on.
Thanks very much, and a warm welcome to everyone out here at Sibaya Casino. It's my pleasure to be hosting this event once again. On behalf of Sunbet, we're welcoming everyone tonight. Unfortunately, we just had a few technical issues, but also we had an accident on the highway. So we're just allowing all our guests to arrive on time. But thanks very much for your attendance. I hope that you enjoyed the dinner that we had planned for you. And I hope that our panel can give you great insights into the big day coming up on Saturday at Hollywood Bets Greyville. Special warm welcome once again to Michael Owen. I met him just a few minutes ago. Michael, welcome to Durban and welcome to your very first Hollywood Bets Durban July. How does it feel coming to South Africa's greatest race?
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for the warm welcome as well. Great to be here with some experts. I'm hoping to get some tips myself, actually. You could say I'm a bit of an expert on English racing, but I'm going to learn an awful lot about South African racing as well. And I've never been to a race meeting in South Africa. Really looking forward to...
Well, you've chosen the best one to go to.
The best one. Well,
yeah.
I might as well choose the best one. I was at Royal Ascot, actually, only a couple of weeks ago, but they say this compares favourably, so really looking forward to it.
Just quickly, on a more somber note, the passing of Diogo Jota today, earlier on in the news coming through, is a hard pill to swallow, but it's very sad for Liverpool, very sad for the football community, and very sad for the world, actually, because he's a world-renowned footballer.
Yeah, absolutely. I walked into to this room before and saw so many red Liverpool shirts, and I'm sure not only you Liverpool fans, but everybody in this room, everybody around the world would be feeling a lot of pain at the moment. I was flying down to Durban just this afternoon or this morning when I heard the news, and there's no words. There really is no words. I mean, he got married 2 weeks ago. He's got 3 young children. Forget football. I mean, this is a person. This is a husband, a father, a brother, a son. This is just tragic news. So our hearts go out to the family and, yeah, everybody connected with him.
Can we just have a moment's silence just to observe the passing of Diogo Jota? Thanks very much. And Michael, just on the racing side, I mean, I was reading up a little bit about your interest in horse racing. I mean, surprising you only started at 11, helping your dad choose his patents, because I started at 8, so you were 3 years late, mate. I mean, so what happened?
Yeah, I had other things on my mind as well. I had to try to be a footballer. No, just to give you all a quick background on my sort of horse racing exploits or past, really. So when I was a kid, my dad used to obviously watch me play football. He would drive down, watch me, drop me off, and if I scored a goal or two when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, he might give me a little bit of money and let me go to the sweet shop on the way home. And he only let me go to the sweet shop because the bookmakers was next door.
Right.
So he'd send me in with a little bit of money and I'd buy some sweets and whatever, and he'd go out, and every single week on a Saturday, he'd have a 50p patent, which is 7 bets, of course, singles, doubles, and a treble. And I used to just sit there on the couch every Saturday afternoon watching the racing with my dad, cheering on his winners. When I got a little bit of pocket money later on in life, I asked him to put some bets on with me, started following trainers, jockeys, you know, what makes a winner, how do you do it? And then that passion just grew. Fast forward, I got into the Liverpool first team at 17. I went to the World Cup in France at 18. I came back and thought to myself, do you know what? I've got some money now. I want to get involved in racing. I bought 2 horses with a famous trainer called John Gosden in the UK. And 2 horses turned to about 10 within about 2 years. Anyway, by the time I turned 22, right in the peak of my career, really, I knew that horse racing was going to be my future. I was just absolutely infatuated with it, interested in every aspect, whether it be the veterinary side, the breeding side, the training side, anything. I just was like a sponge. I wanted to know the whole lot. And finally, at 23, I managed to find an ideal farm. It was an arable farm, but I was looking all around my area, found a farm, converted it to a racing stables, started with about 10 horses, and fast forward, 23 years now, we're now training 130 horses, having runners all over the world. We've had runners in the Melbourne Cup, the Breeders' Cup, you know, Dubai World Cup. We won the Gold Cup on Dubai World Cup night. We've had lots of winners at Royal Ascot and all over the place. So we're a serious operation now in the UK. And as much as I still do the television, still love football, if you ask me my perfect day, it's at my gallops, on the side of the gallops, watching the horses.
Absolutely. It's amazing how many sports people are involved in horse racing, how much they really do love it as a passion. Great to have you in South Africa. I'm sure you'll love Saturday, but let's find out more about what we can back on the big day. So what we're going to ask every panelist to do is to give you their thoughts on the runners. Lionel at the end there, Lionel Nkube, welcome again to you, Lionel. We'll be boosting the prices of all the horses. We're going to start from the biggest outsider first. There'll be 10 minutes for you to get on board. You'll have to go to the Sunbet website, www.sunbet.co.za. If you haven't loaded up your account, we've got our OTT team at the back there that can load that up for you, and you can take advantage. But Lionel will give us some sort of indication about when we're closing the different windows for each particular horse. My guests, Samanga Kamalo, Callan Murray and Joe DeMatta, will give you their thoughts about what each horse's chances are. Not necessarily will they agree, but it'll be a varied opinion, and we'll get it from all of them. And we're going to start off by having a look at Lionel's biggest outsider. Lionel, who have you got for us first?
Okay. Pardon me. Okay, in terms of the biggest outsider on the race, we're looking at Rainbow Lorikeet.
Okay, so Rainbow Lorikeet. And am I right in saying this is only win betting? You're not offering the place betting?
100%.
It's to win the race.
It's to win, and we'll give you some very, very good-looking boost prices today.
Okay, so Rainbow Lorikeet is how much to one on the normal odds now?
She's 80 to 1,
And what are we giving?
and then we'll boost her to 110.
110 to 1. So 110 to 1 if you're interested in Rainbow Lorikeet. The time starts now. Let's quickly do a wrap-up. Mr. DeMatta on the far side represents Gliston Events. Joe is a keen study of form, knows his form backwards. He did want to be a jockey, but it's going to be very hard to say that would have ever worked out okay for you, Joe.
Yeah, tough at the top.
Tough at the top. What do you think of Rainbow Lorikeet?
No chance.
No chance. Okay, let's go to Callan Murray.
Yeah, so obviously the only female in the race, has been running well, but it's very difficult to compare her against some of the males in this race, and yeah, probably at those odds for a reason.
Yeah. Samanga, do you know the horse at all?
Obviously, we do race against them in the early ages. I think I rode one horse in Cape Town where she was there, but I think in this race here, she's just got a lot to do.
Okay, so if you fancy Rainbow Lorikeet, you can get 110 to 1. I tried to press Lionel to give 200 to 1, but he's obviously working within boundaries, and that. Otherwise, you might not have a job on Monday. Eh?
For you, Nico, the best I can do, and this is not a slight to Rainbow Lorikeet,
Yes.
but we can do 122.
Okay, 120. So 120. Thanks very much, Lionel. Let's move on to the second horse. What are we going to give the punters here now? Second biggest outsider.
Okay, with regards to Purple Picture, we're looking at 100 to 1 on Purple Picture.
Okay, 100 to 1 on Purple Picture. May I tell you that Mr. Poey's horse in the last race today at the Vaal, whilst you were busy making your way to the airport, a horse called Royal Horizon won and was well backed. Gavin Lorena rode that last race winner today. Let's start with Samanga here. Do you know this horse, Purple Picture? Well, you must know him.
Yes, I had a chance to ride him in Johannesburg, and I went home to try and work with him and understand what kind of horse he is. He's very buffy and very, how can I put it, shouldery. It takes a lot of warm-up for him to actually be able to give it to you. So the first time I went to work him, I didn't know him, and he has to go and trot, and then so the guy didn't know I was coming, and then they didn't trot him, and as I got on, I got a scare of my life. And they asked me, please come back again, and we'll do the warm-up. And then they did the warm-up with him, and he actually gave me a nice feel, but I think the race came too soon where he just needed to gallop. And then I think after I rode him, and then Kelvin rode him, and then Cabello, he takes his time. You see, every time when Cabello comes out, he has to start to just scrub him to allow him to get to that cruising speed, because he does have quite a nice cruising speed. But I think John 12, there's a lot of speed in this race, and for me, if it just misses that half a break, it's gonna be hard because they'll have to be at him to keep him up. And he's a nice horse, warmed up. Wish Cabello all the best at the stalls. This horse again. It's been quite a while since he can carry 57.5, and I hope this could help.
Okay, what about you, Callan? Any thoughts?
Yeah, look, obviously they've probably shown intentions of being positive by putting the blinkers back on. Obviously, it's pretty well noted that it's going to be quite a high pressure race this year. He's always just behind some of the better horses, but, is he going to be able to put it together and get on top of them? I think that's rather questionable, but like I say, he's only got to improve a couple of lengths on some of the horses that are more favoured in this race. But I think from gate 12, with what I think they're going to do with him in the run, it might be tricky for him.
Yeah, okay. Joe?
Yeah, I think the draw's the problem. He's a nice horse, this, and he gallops. And if he gets into it, I'd have him a bit shorter maybe. But there's too much action on the inside, and I love it. I think he's a good horse. I mean, on the Atticus Finch run, he's got to be right there.
Yeah.
The draw 12, I don't think it's going to suit him.
Yeah, it's not. Lionel, what are we offering on Purple Picture?
100 to 1.
100 to 1. Okay, so if you're a Purple Picture fan, 100 to 1. By the way, I was just looking at Callan now because he had to. Did you have to shed weight to get to 53? Because I said, where on earth are you going to shed it from? But I've noticed now you've trimmed your hair.
Yes, that gave me
That's the only way that you were going to get down
few
to
hundred
53.
grams. So I
Yeah.
went for the mullet coming
But you
from
had a
Australia.
serious mullet coming back from Australia.
Yes, I did. So I had to sort of pay some tribute to them for
Okay.
looking after me
He's
for
still a foot shorter than Richard Hughes.
Absolutely, he is. Yeah. Okay, so 100 to 1 Purple Picture. Right, let's move on to our next horse, Lionel. What have we got?
All right, just before we move over to the next horse, I just want to give an update with regards to Rainbow Lorikeet. We got 3 minutes left on that horse.
Okay.
So you guys need to get on. The next horse is Pomodora's Jet.
Right.
Current odds are 50. We got it boosted to 75 to 1.
75 to 1. Who's going to start me off? Michael, button if you need to, hey?
I'm listening. I'm writing all my notes here.
If you have any thoughts, because Michael got sent the race card.
That's what I'm looking at here. Yeah, I've got the race card.
You've got the race card. So if you have any strong thoughts or feelings, then you
What's the ground like at the moment?
You just chip it. So these jockeys can announce it because they've ridden at Gravel recently. I mean, that turf is pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's fairly used this time of year. Obviously, a lot of racing. They put the rail out and in, but Gravel is a track that takes a bit of a hammering this time of year. Also, not a lot of rain about, so it's generally, probably can play on the firm side. So yeah, that's what we'd expect.
It's likely to be firm ground.
Yes.
Yeah. Although some showers are
confidently.
predicted tomorrow, but I don't think it'll have a significant effect on the track condition.
Yeah.
Eh? Samanga, do you want to just help Michael out there?
Obviously, the last couple of times I see they've moved the rail also, which will help. But I think at about the 16 to the 1,000, we were having quite a bit of forces where the track was a little bit loose. I don't know if you, Kellen, does remember that. And, when we came back, they said, no, they're going to move the rail. So once the rail is moved, I think our first couple of races around the bend, we'll actually get more of a feel. And a couple of guys, whom they know where the patches were. And if they're not there no longer, so then I'm sure we will have a great race day.
Just to let the punters know out there and all the race goers that from races 3 to 6, that false rail is 7.5 meters out, but it's been brought in for the July right through to race 11 to 2.5 meters. So there'll be virgin turf there for the main race up to race 11. They'll bring that false rail in. Right, let's move on to... Did I ask you guys about Pomodora's Jet? No, not yet. I diverted the question. Well, it's because I probably don't like it or didn't know it was in the race. But Joe?
Too far, I think. No, I can't have it. I have to be honest, I can't have it.
Anyone agree with that? Or do you feel it's got
Well,
a chance?
I actually did this horse's gallop leading into the July. I have a lot of time for the horse. I think he's a lovely horse and certainly has the ability, but My question mark would be the prep he's had into it.
Yeah.
Obviously, he had a hiccup, and he's only had the one start over 2200 where he was quite short in the market. That was the consolation last year. So, yeah, being a 6-year-old with the interrupted prep, it's going to be difficult for him. But I must say, I do believe he's a horse with a bit of ability.
Okay, and Samanga?
He
He won the big race at the Vaal, didn't he?
Yes, yes, a big horse, big strident horse, and he just, when Gavin asked him to accelerate, or Craig, he just, you can see that action start to extend. And as Kellen said, he ran well in the cancellation last year. For me, the prep and the last time he was supposed to run, he was taken out. So I have spoken to Atandiwe. He flew to Johannesburg on Monday night to go and put a leg over him, because it's the first time Atandiwe actually being partnered with this horse. And so I asked him, what does he think? And he says, wow, he's really impressed. The horse has got a beautiful action, and he thinks, listen, that's what his words. He says he thinks he's with the shot in the places.
Okay, Joe?
No,
No.
definitely. Look, he's a nice sort of. Imagine a 6-year-old winning the July that hasn't run 2,200 meters. So,
Yeah.
You know, and they're offering you how much?
75 to 1.
75 to 1. No.
75.
Look, he's a lovely horse. How's the what?
How's the 80? He wants you to push it up to 80, one of the
They're
punters.
looking for 80. You've got to speak up if you want a better price. Come on.
Lionel, can you give 80? Can you be hard pressed to give
can,
80? I mean,
yeah.
come on, you guys, you say we're the best bookmaker in town. Come on.
80 to 1 is
80
on
to
offer.
1 you got. So make sure you get
There
on
you
in the
go.
next 10 minutes or so.
You ask, you get.
Lionel, move on to our next one. Swiftly moving on.
All right, lovely. I just want to make it just a quick note here for all the new clients. Welcome to Sunbet. With regards to our racing product, please kindly click on Sunbet Racing and then click on Future. Greyville Race 7 is where you'll find all the updated odds for you to bet on. Moving on to Native Ruler.
Yeah, this is the one-time winner that's made its way into the July.
The odds reflect that, and we're offering 66 to 1 for Native Ruler.
Joe, could start with you.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've got a bit of time for this horse. He's only a 3-year-old. Probably having a sighter for next year. Justin's the Shrudy.
Yeah.
Probably also try to get as many into the race as possible to control the situation. Yeah, it's a big price, and rightly so. Drawn 18, really hard.
It's going to be tough.
It's really hard, yeah.
Guys, just collectively here, I mean, he's got in basically on his run to 8 on 18. He can't really turn the tables on 8 and 18, can he?
One wouldn't think so, and I suppose a few horses had to run behind 8 on 18 in that race. So, yeah, look, on form he looks held. He'd have to make a big jump to try and win this from the widest gate.
Tamanga?
Yeah, as Kellen said, yes, he's ran with the best of the best. But as you say, there's a horse that has to be in that kind of place where he just found the 5 better on the day, and he'll be there. And then at the end of the race, we'll put there, he ran 4-5 lengths behind the greatest of all time. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Let's move along. Lionel, where do we move to next?
Litigation.
Litigation's the horse that got in because of the scratching of See It Again. He got in as a reserve runner. He was due to run in the earlier consolation race. And what have you got him priced up at?
60 to 1.
Okay, so you're offering 60.
60.
60 to 1 on litigation. Anyone commenting on litigation with a strong argument for him?
4? No,
Can you argue for him?
no, definitely. I don't think so.
Okay, can either of you've ridden it before, haven't you?
He doesn't run for nobody else but Gavin Larino.
Really, hey? And who's riding him?
Grant Van Eek.
Grant van
Grant,
Niekerk.
yeah.
So that's that end
But
conversation.
Grant
end.
hasn't had a chance.
Listen, this was all the time. I also put a leg over, and
Yeah,
he
he's
just
got-
looked at me.
Yeah, you and Gavin.
No, I say he just looked at me, and I was at the back.
Yeah.
But Gavin, I think the next start he came and he won.
So you're saying that Gavin's better looking than you then? What are you trying to say? Callan, nothing.
Yeah, look, I don't know the horse very well, but on paper he looks held, and I think from the gate, on his racing pattern, he's going to have a bit of work to do.
Callan's come back from Australia uber diplomatic, hasn't he?
Well, he's grown up, eh?
Yeah.
He's grown up. Okay, let's move along. So that's litigation done and dusted, very short and sweet. Lionel, next we have.
Confederate.
Okay, here's an interesting horse, Confederate. I can tell you for a fact that the trainer, Fabian Habib, had 2 winners today out at the Vaal racecourse. So they're in good form and looking strong going into it. Weren't you offered this ride?
Yes, I was offered.
And?
My thing is, he's a very aggressive horse because in his early career, I was supposed to ride him first time out, and I ended up not taking a ride. And since then, I just try to not cross paths with him because he's very aggressive, and if you don't know him, he might try and do too much. And we all want to have the animal underneath us that you can control, and such as I need you to just save a little bit of energy, and I'll actually let you go at about the 300 or 200 if you're still underneath me. But with him, it's one way or the highway. So the last.
He's likely to go to the front.
Yeah.
Warren is likely to take him to the
Listen,
front.
it's 53 and a half. Listen, he's shown, even in Joburg winning that Group 1 with Craig.
Yeah.
He ran the memory dance, and I still remember everybody, we were like, he's going to come back, and he never did. So I think the last run, maybe the prep, having a one run underneath the belts, coming to this race end is a little bit of a headstrong. I would like to see him running one more time, maybe over 18 or 2000 before I could actually say, wow, he's worth a chance in this kind of race.
Callan?
Yeah, look, you got to have respect for the horse. 9 starts, never been out of the top 2. So he's obviously got a ton of ability, but obviously he did miss that run. I think it was in the
he was
Daily News.
He was
scratched.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a question mark with his racing pattern and a high-pressure race like the July, whether he's going to get the trip. And I suppose that is a question mark for the day, but my honest feeling is he could possibly have too much pressure in a race like the July.
Warren Kennedy has come back from New Zealand. He came back for a holiday, basically, or he's had enough of the sheep in that part of the world. But he's come back for a working holiday. Joe, where do you put him in your pecking order, Confederate?
I'd have him 5 points shorter, I think, on the odds. I think, would I be surprised if he ran a good race? No.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
But does he have to go to the front to run his best race?
He probably. Do you know what I think? This horse is a bit horse that you're watching the replay over and over again, and you pencil him in for a few more races because he's never finished out the money, and he's a really good horse. This prep not so good, draw not so great. 53.5 kilos. Warren Kennedy riding well, of course. Probably slightly maybe slightly overpriced.
I agree with you.
I'd add him in. You know what I mean? Like
I agree with you. I
wouldn't be surprised if he ran well.
Yeah. I think that's the point. And Lionel, what sort of odds are you giving on Confederate?
50 to 1.
50 to 1. Okay.
50.
So you're a taker at 50s. Are you a taker at 50s?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm a taker at 60. They asked for 60. I'm with the crowd.
No, I think we're going to be a little bit hard on this one. 50.
Okay, it's on 50 for a reason. So 50s. And
take 50 now or 40 tomorrow.
But what price is it currently on the market?
40 to 1.
40. So it's
So
reasonable.
that's good. It's a good stretch. Come on.
It's a good stretch. It's a nice stretch. Michael, just coming to you briefly. You've had horses in very, very big races. This is the race as an owner. I'm not talking now as a breeder, but as an owner, this is South Africa's greatest race. We'll talk about 8 on 18 being partly owned by South Africa's richest guy as well. But every owner buys a horse at this. There was a sale out here today, not far from here, where everyone wants to buy that horse ultimately to win this race. What does it mean to head to Royal Ascot with a runner and a winner, all the same with your horse? I mean, what did that feel like?
Yeah, I got very lucky. Early on in my life, I had a horse that I bought. So I was playing for Liverpool at the time, and we had just won the 3 trophies. We had just won won the treble in 2001. And so I decided to call the horse Treble Heights after just winning the treble the year before. I invested quite heavily in her. She was 6 figures, and she was very nice. She was a Group 2 placed horse. She won a Group 3, won a couple of listed races. So she was a stakes performer. And I retired her eventually after a 4-year-old campaign, and I put her in foal, and I gave her a real chance. You know, I spent big money on some really good stallions, and the first 3-4 horses that came out were okay. They were winners, but they were only okay. And then I'd almost given up on her. You know, as I say, I had 4 or 5 horses out of her by then, and I almost given it. So I lowered my expectation, and I sent her to a cheap stallion, a cheap staying stallion, and all of a sudden, out popped a freak of nature, really, who went on to win, as you mentioned. He went on to win at Royal Ascot. He won the Dubai Gold Cup. He won. He came second in the English St. Leger. He won the Irish St. Leger. He won the Goodwood Cup twice. I mean, he was a very, very good horse.
Just give the story about
horse called Brown Panther.
How did you name him?
Well, when I first named him, he was at a stud farm about 30 miles from my house, and the stud master phoned me and said, right, your mare has had a foal last night. So I raced down that morning to go and have a look, and the first thing he said is, I'll get him out the stable now with his mum. He walks like a panther. He really puts his head down and almost looks at you out the corner of his eye, and he almost walks like he stalks you. So I said, there and there. It normally takes me years to think of a name for a horse. This was the first horse I'd named within a day. So I said, as soon as he came out, there you go, Brown Panther. And to own a champion is one thing. It's a lifelong ambition. But to breed one is just incredible. I mean, he was so part of the family. I know everybody thinks it and says it, but I've got all his brothers at home. You know, I couldn't bear let any of them go. Sadly, he was defending his Irish St. Leger and shattered his leg. So it was one of the most heartbreaking days of my life, but the memories live on, and he raced for me for 5 seasons, danced every dance, went to every corner of the world. He was just brilliant. So, yeah, I mean, winning a big race like this, like the one that I've won with him, it's just, you can't, I mean, scoring a goal I can't even explain how good it is. Winning a big race is the closest thing you'll ever get to it.
Absolutely. I love the comparisons, because often sportsmen do make their comparisons.
I remember going with Tom to Longchamp, with Tom Daskam.
Tom, my old trainer,
I went with, we all went when he got beaten ahead. Richard got beaten ahead with it.
Yeah.
I promise you, it rained for a week before. It was going terrible, and it just got caught on a 6-horse field. Great horse he was.
Yeah.
All I can tell you about Confederate is if this horse wins at July, I don't know if you know the owners, like I know the owners. That race course, will never be the same again, and I don't think they'll ever have another July. If that horse wins. That's the type of parting that you'll see. And that winners enclosure they made 10 times bigger won't be able to fit people in, because there'll be so many hangers on there. Anyway, let's move on. After Confederate, we've got...
Nico, can I just do another service announcement? I just would like to inform everyone, with regards to deposits, we've got all channels, your EFTs, your credit cards, and if you also would like to do cash, we got OTT at the back.
There's only one currency that we're not accepting tonight, and that's the Zimbabwe dollar. Otherwise, we've got any other currency we'll accept it.
Okay, moving on to...
Are you taking sterling?
Yeah, we will. Sure. Moving on to the next runner, we got Okavango.
Right.
She's currently going at 33 to 1.
She changed sexes overnight. Okay,
yeah. Currently going at 33 to 1. Will boost to 40.
40 to 1. Andrew Fortune has a ride in the race. He was wondering what horse he was going to ride. He eventually ended up with a 3-year-old Okavango. Let's start off with Joe.
Only because Andrew's riding it, I think, maybe. But look, I like horses further up the bidding. He's all right. He won a race really impressive. I had a horse in the race. Haroon ran in that race, and he won this horse won really well. But I don't think he's done sufficient for me to considering, I would flip-flop him and the Confederate all day long, betting-wise. I think the Confederate will finish in front of Okavango.
Okay, yeah, that's fair comment. Just in terms of Andrew Fortune riding in the same colours as the favourite,
Yeah.
and having been on record as saying 8 on 18 is just the sensation that's going to sweep all the accolades in the Natal winter season, was what his comment was at the start.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to be protecting the favourite, seeing as it's from the same stable? Do you think
No,
that
Andrew, never. Not Andrew.
he ride his own race?
No. Andrew try and win this race to the best of his ability.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've known Andrew for 48 years. He got beat on a horse called Trojan Euro many years ago, went on to win 17 races. We found it first time out, it got beaten ahead. No, he'll be trying his best, but I don't think the horse is quite up to it.
Yeah, okay.
No, Andrew won't play team tactics, definitely not.
We're saying he's not a team player.
He'll try to win the race. If he's on Team Fortune.
Yeah, he's on Team Fortune, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay, let's speak about Okavango from your perspective, Samanga.
Listen, a very nice horse. Muzi had to put a leg over when it got beat by Silukwe. And he also thought, because there was another, he also wanted to ride Sell the Sea or this one. So there was a little bit of, will Sell the Sea run the July or not? And when this horse ran, after he rode it, Andrew Fortune rode it and behind 8 on 18. So he saw that, you know, he might as well go back to Royal Victory because, you know, this horse couldn't come close. But the weight is good. It comes from the back. He can surprise the punchers with the places. I don't know how many places are they giving. But, you know, to turn around the four lengths to 8 on 18, it's a bit hard.
Going to be tough. Callan, just before you comment there, just want to speak to everyone betting on the tote, because this is a world pool race and punters got caught out last year. If you're taking a place bet on the tote, it has to run in the first 3, regardless of the size of the field. So your best bet is to probably take a bet with the bookmakers on fixed odds places, because I know that several of them offer 4, 5, 6, even 6 places. But if you're betting on the tote, just remember that it has to run in the first 3. Even if it runs 4th, you don't get paid out for 4th placing. Callan, your comments on Okavango?
Yeah, obviously on the Silukwe and 8 on 18 run and how they've come into this race based on handicap, he looks held. So he'd have to make improvement to turn that around on those 2 at least.
Would people have to go to a horse like Okavango to then compare the older horses to the younger horses? Would you literally translate the Silukwe run and the 8 on 18 run so through Okavango you can find out who's going to win this race?
Look, I suppose there's so many horses coming from different routes into this race. You'd probably do your head in trying to find the right route. But yeah, just that's purely for me based on those 2 runs. And him as a horse trying to turn around on those 2 are more favoured in the betting.
Okay, right, that's Okavango. Let's move on to our next horse. So we're sort of middle of the pops here. What are we doing, Lionel?
We're moving on to Madison Valley.
Madison Valley.
Yeah, I mean, we've experienced a lot of action on Madison Valley across the last 2 weeks. So there will be some happy people here when we boosted up to 40-1.
So it's 40-1. You're going to give 40-1. I know there was some early money for this. Now, Gavin Larena currently leads the Riders' Championship in South Africa. Strange that he's ended up on this horse. I think he was also offered the Confederate, but he's ended up without a ride effectively, and he's ended up taking Madison Valley. So what are your comments, Samanga, on this horse?
Listen, the horse stays all day. It's proven itself, and that it does stay, and it ran with some nice horses in the early form, and for this horse to even turn the tables around on the horse called Underworld, you know, I think Muzi that day, you know, the different Muzi, and he came on the course, and they came as a blanket to come and take over, but he changed his stick and kept this guy going. And with the draw to, you know, I really give this horse a chance. 54 on his back. Gavin Larena, as you just mentioned, is our champion leading rider. I, I still have a look. I have a view at the last run, and I really think if Gavin can just place this horse exactly the same how Muzi placed it, and having the 54 off his back. Listen, guys, I don't know how much for places, but this horse can stay. He's proven. He's won 3,000. He's won 3-2. He's won. He's shown that you put him over ground, he will grind down to the wire. Now he's carrying 54. Guys, have a look on the places.
Joe, is this more a Gold Cup horse?
No, he's a big runner.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah, he's a big runner. Look at his run behind Atticus Finch, drawn 18 out of 19 in the Summer Cup. Owned by great guys. Sid puts a lot of money into the game.
Absolutely.
What did you say he was?
40-1.
40, that's a big price. I think, I agree with Smunga there. Like, you've got to get stuck into this horse in the place market, I think he can really, really run well.
So, place money, but we're talking win? We're not talking...
You know, sometimes I've got to close my eyes and like look at the roll of honour of who's won this race, and like, no disrespect, but I can't see his name on the winning trophy.
Yeah.
But he's a serious racehorse, and he'll run well. He will run well.
And Callum?
Yeah, look, I think from gate 2 with Oriental Charm drawn 1, going to be positive, and Oriental Charm's probably the horse that's going to take him a long way into the straight. I think he is going to get a lot of favours in the run. I do think he probably needs that, as he's probably just behind some of the better ones. But he does stay. He's going to get a lot of favours in the run. I think he's going to get a very good run in transit with Gavin from gate 2, and that certainly broadens his chances.
Okay, so 40-1 may be tantalising for some people that might have heard the comments. They're pretty positive, if I can hear from all of the panelists here. But let's move on to our next horse, Lionel. Now we're getting to the serious contenders. Who's next?
I know Joey's going to like this one. Atticus Finch. 33-1.
Okay, Atticus Finch, 33-1. He's a big race winner. He comes in with a nice weight as an older horse here. He sort of fits the profile of an older horse that often wins this race, Joe. These older horses that carry the decent weights.
This horse is just pedigree. The trainer's father, his grandfather, the race, everything just points to Ali kicked like a rich vein for him earlier in the year. Then he dipped a little bit, and the horses have just been starting to come into form again. He's
Sorry, Chief. Hollywood got the horse at 33 to 1. Give us
There's horses Hollywood have 20-1 on, and
Is your best, you said 33-1, am I right?
the best is 33-1.
The best is 33-1 tonight. Some people have arrived to obviously to back this, but you rate it.
no. Look, how can you not rate him? He's a serious racehorse. Like, could I see his name on the trophy? 100%.
You can.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, would I be surprised? I don't think so. Like, he's got a great draw, carrying 57 kilos, like I said. Oh, Alec, Calvin, Sea Cottage, London News, the whole lot just stacks up to this horse on this day.
Okay, so you're obviously quite big on it. You beat this horse with Immediate Edge.
I wasn't on immediate edge that day.
Okay, but Immediate Edge beat this horse. So can you see the tables turned in Atticus Finch's favour with Immediate Edge?
It's a difficult line to go on because both of them are prepping. Immediate Edge won very well under the hands. Going back, watching this horse's replays, obviously he is a Summer Cup winner, so he's capable at the highest level of Group 1s. But just watching the horse, I feel he probably doesn't have the spark he did have leading into a race like the Summer Cup. So if he can find that, he's obviously a capable horse with a good gait and drawn to get a good run. But I think he does need to find that in order to win the July this weekend.
Are you talking about something you've seen in the morning? Maybe he's not as...
No, just personally going through the replays and that sort of thing. I haven't had a chance to really follow him in the mornings, but
Right.
just in the way he's raced compared to how he led into the Summer Cup.
Samanga, do you see this horse going close?
Yes, I have worked with him, and obviously I was on a younger horse, called Deal Sum, I think, and he was there to just guide me as an older horse, you know. And I sat behind him, and I'm on a bigger horse, so I thought, let me allow this young horse to, at about the 600, to start to unwind. But I came up to him too quickly, and so he took a bit of time. But once we hit the 50 mark, this guy, he shown what he was all about. And Kelvin, he was on him, I was on the younger horse. And you know what, he's running a constellation, finishing second behind Cape Eagle. For me, the last time the draw, every time when he actually gets a good draw, he doesn't perform very well because he's a big horse. It takes time. As I say, when you come up at him too quickly, he just battles to gather his stride again. But when he's got an outside draw, it just allows him to make up that ground and make up it while everybody's filtering in, and then he's making up on the outside, and he can end up sitting second, third. That again, he's got draw 4 now, and there's a lot of speed coming from either inside and the outside.
Trap back.
And he's the type of horse, he wants to be free and allowed to use his action to better, and all the time he just keeps on finding. Listen, Mr. Led, as Mr. Tamata said, the family of Led, from Sid Led, they love this race, and London News. And Mr. Led wouldn't put him here. And again, I heard you touching at the mid age. So now 52 kilos and 60, and now again he's coming at 57 and with the draw. So listen, if I'm sure there's a couple of players out there who has followed this horse, and he's went up, he's went down, he's went up again, and then you know, just keep on following him.
So what you said was 33. They want 40.
We'll stand on 33.
You're going to stick on 33, hey? You're scared of this, obviously, hey?
I respect the horse.
You see, Lionel is the senior trader. As I said, he does want a job on Monday. And if this horse wins, they'll say, remember what you did on Thursday night? You could find another company to work for. That's at 33 is a done deal. Okay, Atticus Finch 33-1. That's it. What's next?
Royal Victory.
Okay, Royal Victory is a seasoned campaigner. He's been around for quite a bit. I want to go to Joe first on Royal Victory. Not the best of draws. He seemed a bit out of sorts at the gallops the other day.
30-1, pardon, just before
How
Charles
much?
speaks. 30-1 for Royal Victory.
Yeah, Nico, if you could get us a bottle of water, that would be great. It's just a draw, and I don't think he's the horse he was 14 months ago. You know, probably also not suited to Greyville. I'm just thinking
Better Turfentine horse?
maybe, but you know, he won 2 big races, didn't he? And you know, some horses it just takes it out of them, to be honest with you. And I don't think from draw 17, I'd be stretching him way out past Atticus Finch, betting wise. I know Muzi's chosen to ride him over other options. He's loyal to the horse. The owners are fantastic people. The trainer, everything's amazing. But I'm going to have to give Royal Victory a skip, I'm afraid.
It's your mate, Muzi.
Listen,
How's his mood, by the way? How's Muzi's mood at the moment?
he's on his way down here to Durban. He's driving down. Obviously, he was at the Vault as soon as he finished racing. Got into his car.
Oh, so he's driving down.
He's driving down, yeah.
And you flew business class?
If
So
you
it just
if
shows
you
you
call
the-
yourself a business class, yes.
1A.
It's cattle class.
Listen, this horse has been everywhere. Cape Town, Joburg, Durban. I'm surprised it never went to PE, but listen, he's a nice horse. I've ridden him before. I've sat on him. I've won a number of races on him, and you know, he's been over the distance. A 2-2 where he finished third. I I just feel he's had enough. He even showed at the gallop where, you know, a horse has to be wanting to do it, and if he doesn't want to do it and he's being forced, it just shows a lot of signs. And listen, we love Muzi, we love Peter Victor, and we also love Royal Victory. I think every player here, they have there are moments when this horse won them in Johannesburg, and then, you know, beating Winchester Mansion. I'm sure everybody remembers that, but I don't think he's in a happy space now as a horse, and you know, I just want to leave it there.
Is the spark gone from this horse? Has he lost it?
It's hard for me to say. I haven't had much to do with him. Obviously, he did play up at the gallops, which is not ideal, but, you know, beaten under a length and a half last year. I think if you can base that run and this run, he's got Oriental Charm beaten at the weight. So he's obviously a horse with the ability, and if he has to show up on the day, he possibly could. But having said that, gate 17, he's not going to have a lot of favours, so he is going to have to pull one out the hat.
Okay, that's Royal Victory. And what were you laying on Royal Victory? 30, you said.
32.
Why don't you boost that as well, eh? I mean, these guys don't like it.
I don't know.
Come on, and they're professionals.
33 to 1.
33 to 1 Royal Victory. See, you pinch another 3 points there. 33 to 1. Okay. Thanks very much. What are we moving on to?
My best shot. My best shot, 28 to 1.
28 to 1, my best shot. The horse from Gqeberha, from the Eastern Cape. Michael, just to put you in the picture, out of all our centres here, it's considered that the Eastern Cape is the weakest centre of all the 4 racing centres in South Africa. So it's for a horse to come from that centre to run in the July is these days near nigh impossible. So he's made it into the final field, and he's a really, really good horse. He's captured the public's imagination in that part of the world, but he's coming up here with to swim in the big waters.
Yeah.
So that's where he fits in. So what are your thoughts, Joe?
Oh, I'd love to own him, without a doubt. He's a really, really good horse. Apart from my late Wahid, who we sadly lost,
Yes.
I don't think he's beaten anything of the caliber that he's going to encounter. I've got a friend in the audience somewhere that I renamed a horse that he went for last year. I called it No Dinero. He kept calling it Mucho Dinero. I'm going to call this No Shot.
As opposed to my best shot.
Yeah, like, look, it's amazing to have a runner in the race. I'm an owner, as you know.
Yeah.
Fantastic, great achievement. Ticks all those lovely boxes, but I just don't think he's met anything of this caliber. I really don't.
I think if you sat Alan Creef down, the trainer, and you said to Alan, it's your decision only. The owners don't count. He wouldn't have run it here.
Okay, well that's a great thing to know, because
I would think that. I would think that if the owners didn't want to run in the July, you know, it's their best shot.
100%.
You know,
if I owned him, everybody knows. If I owned him, I'd be saying the same thing. But it deserves to be there, of course. But
Yes.
I don't think he's going to be able to compete at this level. I don't think so.
I know my aspirant commentator that commentates with me in Joburg is the only tipster out of like 300 media that have gone for him, Nakib.
Okay.
So I think it's because he's been spending a lot of time in the
Port
Eastern
Elizabeth.
Cape commentating, and the airs maybe got to him, or
Jet lag.
something's happened. Samanga?
I agree with Joe.
But say it.
In as many words, Callan?
Well, you know, I probably give this horse a bit more hope than the rest. You know, I think if for any horse to win 6 in a row is a huge effort, and going back and watching them, they've actually been very impressive wins. You know, obviously the horses behind him are question marks, but something had to run behind him, and obviously very excited for the PE to have a runner in a race like this. And as we said, we don't know what he's beaten. Obviously not much. They probably come from a centre like Durban or Joburg to go there, but the horse hasn't done anything wrong, and yeah, I'm interested to see how he goes here.
Okay, that's putting it diplomatically. Let's move on to our next horse, Lionel.
This is a fancied horse amongst a lot of people, Salukwe, 22 to 1.
Right. Is that all that you're giving on Salukwe? 22 to 1.
Yeah, it's currently going at 16. So I think 22 is a fair stretch.
So I must put it out there that this is my best outsider for the personally. It's my best outsider for the race. I didn't think it would be a horse that I would like that much, but when I look back at that Gravel 1900 run, I like the way that it won. It's 300 meters extra. I like it at the price, and I like it on a bit of collateral form as well. I'm going to start off with Callan on Salukwe. Do you know much about this horse?
Don't know much about him. If I look at him purely on paper, if you don't have the last run in there, you couldn't have him in a race like this. But watching him last start, ultra impressive, cruised into the straight and ran past him very well. And I think he's definitely put his hand up for a race like this.
Yeah, it's 54 as a 5-year-old. That's what appeals to me. We've had many horses, Joe, that have come into this race. I mean, you'll remember going back to the horse of Robert Bloomberg's Dunford. That sort of fits this sort of type of horse. If it's, by the way, just your feelings on the overall July field. Do you think it's a weakish version of it? What do you think it is?
I didn't think about that until you asked me. I don't think it's the greatest renewal we've had. I don't think it's the strongest we've had.
Because I'll touch on that again. I just wanted to know your thoughts. But having
actually, now that you mention it, I actually don't think it's the strongest July we've had in a while.
So would that put Salukwe in with a chance here?
No.
No,
I think Callan's hit the nail on the head. The last run makes him look
better than
viable.
He is. Yeah.
But I don't think so. I can't have it.
Well,
I really fancy other horses in the race. That's why. So it's getting harder to.
Yeah. Okay, but that's fine. But he is bred by a July winner in Pomodoro. Yeah. So your thoughts on Salukwe?
Listen, yes, the last run, impressive. And again, he was carrying 54 and he's carrying 54 again. But I'm sitting here asking myself, if we're saying that he's meant to be in this race, then we'll say Asaluchu should be also in this race. You understand? I don't know if it makes sense because it's just that last run that that got everybody excited. And I think I was in a race when the Milenze got Tutuma won, and the Milenze got Tutuma beat. This was twice, and you know. Now you ask yourself, at 54, you're still getting beat by 2.5 lengths. For me, I have to say, I think the last run really got everybody excited, but it hasn't been that distance, 2,200. And the roughness of this race is every man for himself. And I just remember there was a time I was stuck on the fence and I was screaming for my life, and nobody knew how I was. And once I finished, I came back, and luckily I won. I came back and I thanked the guys, because at the end of the day, some of them did look after me, and will this horse be able to take that kind of roughness? Because he chills at the back, and will he turn it on? It's a big question mark.
You see, Michael, this is a handicap, but a panel decides what races.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Yeah. So ultimately, there are 18 places.
There's 18 places available, but not the best handicapped horses get to run in it.
Yeah.
Because it ultimately gets decided by panel.
It's discretionary.
It's discretionary.
It's discretionary when it comes. Obviously, the top horses will get their way in because they're the best. But when it comes to filling up the field, it
something like this. It was visually impressive.
Yeah,
all
it
of
was
a sudden,
it was. Yeah, you're right. It was visually impressive, and that's why.
In a true handicap, he wouldn't run.
Being a commentator that I am, I was impressed. So that's why I've mentioned it from my side. Obviously, none of you agree with that.
Well,
I agree. It was impressive.
But it's who it beats, and
that
this is a different race. I just feel he fits the profile. He's 54 kilos as a 5-year-old. and one last time and will appreciate the extra. But that's the great thing about racing, is we all get given the same form book and everyone interprets it differently. It's fascinating. Lionel, let's move on to the next horse.
On My Honor. And just before we move over to On My Honor, I just also want to mention that we do pay tax on behalf of our valued players.
Oh, the
and
6%?
therefore, 100%. So when you consider that 6% based and add it up to the booster prices we're offering, you're looking at a 36% price boost on average. So it's a great deal for everyone around.
Okay, so that's the Sunbet do pay the 6%. Just to explain to people that don't know what we're talking about, when a punter wins from a bookmaker on fixed odds betting, you have to pay 6% on your winnings. So if you won 1,000 Rand, you'll get 60 Rand off, which means you only make 940, and the bookmaker then pays that over to the taxman on your behalf. What they're saying is you don't have to pay that anymore, they'll pay it for you. You didn't know that because jockeys aren't allowed to punt, obviously. I mean, you didn't have a clue what I was talking about there.
No.
Now, you do have a clue, though, because you're riding On My Honor. And now I've heard since the gallops...
Whoop, whoop.
I heard since the gallops... By the way, that's his trademark, Michael. Every time he has a winner, he fits that in. It's become a trademark of his. Since the gallop, this horse has continued to shorten the whole time. Everyone suddenly got big on this horse. If you asked people 2 months ago who this horse was, they would have said, who? Who is this horse? Now, I remember calling this horse when I went to Port Elizabeth at Fairview and being very impressed with him when he made up the ground. He's got a turn of foot that is really, really good, but he's been off the circuit for a little bit, and he's only starting to come back now. Glenn Cotson, who's his trainer, is bullish about every horse in his yard. So if you ask Glenn, if Glenn had 10 runners on a day, and you asked him, you've got a horse in every one of the 10 races, how many winners are you going to have? He'd say 11. That's Glenn Cotson. Forever the optimist, lovely chap. I grew up with him. Let's go to this horse. You've got a big chance. Everyone says that you've got a big chance.
Listen, Nico, with the draw, with the weight, and, he's a massive son of Give Me the Green Light. Listen, and Glenn Cousin, he knows he's no stranger to these races.
Absolutely.
Listen, first time I put my leg over him, I felt he's massive, and he's got a magnificent action underneath him. He does everything at ease. You don't have to hammer him or try and find how good he is. But yes, he's a young horse. I think maybe next year, when he's at 4, and he has to learn a little bit more of the ropes. I think this is the race where it will just show that he's not yet there. But next season, you have to watch out for him, because even the runs behind One Strap, because they thought he could be there, but obviously One Strap is in a different league compared to him. His last run was amazing. I feel if I would have put a leg over him, would have tried to be a little bit closer. But the only thing that worries me, he sort of falls at the stalls, He's not a type of horse that you come out and he'll travel and place. He comes out and then, I think just because he's young, he comes out and he just takes his time just to seize the moment, and then he takes the bridle and he'll go. But in this kind of race, you need a horse that is really, really sharp at the gate. I'll go back on the horse Sparkling Water. John 12 of 12, to have a gate speed to go sit.
You rode but you rode the perfect
to
race.
sit in front, and then the same people who were drawn 1 and 2 come and give you cover. You need that kind of speed, and as a rider, Kellen can also just add there. If you miss a break, the rest of the guys, they're not there to. So sorry, you missed the break. You understand? No, they're there to take your position. they there to make sure that you snooze, you lose, and I just wish he could be that kind of horse where when those gates open and he takes me and then I decide, okay, well, this is where I want you to be. But all in all, he's a very nice horse to all the followers. I think next season he'll be a right horse to follow.
You're downplaying your comments a little bit to say that, I mean, can I ask you this question? Your previous winners in the race, you would have ridden them at gallops and whatever it is. I mean, how does this horse compare to those winners that you've ridden?
At 3, he's still trying to find himself.
Right.
Where the filly, she was older. She was 4.
Yeah,
she went to Cape Town. She was a stayer. She won the 2.850 in Cape Town. Heavy metal. He done very well in Johannesburg, winning the premiers, and just they had that where if the pressure comes, they can handle. Where I think for him, it will still be at sea, and like I have to guide him around, but still the pressure will be coming. So there's a lot that I have to put on the saddle, and to see how far we can get to finish the race.
Okay, Callan?
Yeah, I think Smunger might get away with jumping slow. Yeah, actually, if I look at where Madison Valley should end up in the run, he might find the back of that, and he'll be closer in the run to Madison Valley than last time. So if you give Madison Valley a chance, then you have to give On My Honor a good chance. But he is obviously a young horse. Can he handle the pressure and step up in trip? But obviously, I just think that he still will get into a good spot in the run and is capable of running some sort of a race.
Joe, this horse has had almost the perfect prep.
Yeah, he has. And yeah, I heard everything Smunger said, and he's probably right. Following as a 4-year-old. I've got a bit of a more selfish reason. There's a history of jockeys that win the July that are miraculously unavailable afterwards, and I really need Kumalo in the 11th. Because he's going to win on me on one of my horses.
Yes.
If you could just give up the July for us, that would be awesome.
So what are you saying? He must win the July or mustn't win the July?
No, if he wins the July, these oaks, they don't ride on, They get into the
They
champagne.
They don't train on. Is it?
They call in sick. No, look, he's a really nice horse. But look, we all prepped individually for this, so it's good to hear that people have similar views in some circumstances, not necessarily on form, but this horse will be a better 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought.
Okay, so On My Honor, what are we offering again on My Honor? 20 to 1. And that's a very good price, considering what the market's got it as. 20 to 1 if you like On My Honor. People are backed to win a lot of money. You'll get lots of presents if it wins, because I know people are backed this at a huge, huge price. Who's next?
Okay. The next horse is the Real Prince.
Right, interesting horse. And I'm going to start off with Mr. D'Amato, who's become the Real Prince ambassador for the stable. You've been preaching this horse, haven't you?
Every year, I think you've got to find something at a bigger price that you start taking doubles and trebles into. I've been very blessed this year. I've had a lot of winners, and they've all paroled onto this thing. If it stays, there's no horse in this race with a better turn of foot than this horse. Like that's a certainty.
But it's a gamble to say if he stays, because he's out of a real Princess who was a top sprinter. But do you think he'll stay?
It's a gamble apart from when you look at who trains the horse and the pedigree of that trainer in this race. Also a little bit like Alec, PK, Peter Canamo, for those that don't know, now Dean, for them to run this horse in this race. I probably have talked myself into this horse more than I should have, but the bets are on, so I need him to run in the first 3, which would be amazing. If he stays, he's a really good horse. This. If he stays, I think he'll be thereabouts.
Okay, so he's your first choice in the race.
No, my first choice is what won't win.
No, but what I'm saying is, he is the
yeah,
biggest,
I've taken a lot of bets into this horse.
He is your biggest winner.
Yeah, he's my biggest win at the moment. Yeah.
In other words, if anyone wants a loan after the race and the Real Prince wins, there's your man. You know what he looks like. He's
100%.
Open for business at a certain interest rate, I suppose.
Well,
for
It's
friends?
25 to 1, I think, the rand to the pound
What-
at the moment. So
Absolutely.
invest
What price?
wisely.
Lionel, what did you say? What price is this horse?
20 to 1, the real prince.
20 to-
Sorry, pardon me, 18 to 1.
Surely you're going to go a bit higher.
18 to 1. Right, let's ask these two gentlemen. What do you think,
20,
Samanga,
20.
about whether he can do the distance or not?
Mr. Joe, so he's been here at Gravel twice and pod races. He didn't shape up. Gravel, it's the short straights, and if you're coming from miles away from last to try and make it up, you'll make it up in a pull-up. But for me, listen, as you say, if he stays, that's a big question mark. But
Listen, if you're going to have a go, don't start with Mr. Joe. Just go with Joe.
no, we're not having a go.
Well, he's
Uh,
basically calling you something, but with 4 letters.
Yeah,
It doesn't
100%.
start with a J.
So they did like him a lot. You know what? He's ran with one of the best sprinters, and they tried to put him up. And for me, going the 2-2, and as we all said earlier, it's a very testing 2-2. This and also very rough. And if he has to give away his draw and try to make it up, I'm sure there'll be 3 other horses who's going to be looking at the 800 while he's still that side. So for me,
Are you saying he must tear up his tickets now?
listen. I'm only saying because we there.
Yeah, you're
And
there.
sometimes I'm sitting third last, and I said to myself, okay, if I'm on the fence, how am I gonna come out to actually start? Because my horse is starting to gain on me, but the horse in front of me is starting to tire. So those things happen, and you have someone on your outside, so you can't bump the guy because he'll push you back onto the stopping horse. So now you have to wait there and try and get this horse. But the guys that are there up front, they just keeping that gallop hot. So now with the draw, when they all come and they filter him in, he'll end up on a rail, and the guys who's going to be maybe 1 off or 3 wide, they will always, at about the 800 already. Dalpatch done it on Igugu, he done it on many other horses. At the 1,000 or 900, he pulls out and he starts looping the field.
Looping them, yeah.
And he always gets up. So the guy who had a good draw, who's stuck on the fence, those are the ones who on the rail, they have enough. So it's very tricky for the kind of horse that comes from at the back. That's what I'm trying to say.
So the question mark that I want to ask you, the big question is, should they have been trialling this horse over 2-2 in the biggest race in South Africa? Surely you would have done this earlier. Maybe maybe it's just a rushed prep. I'm just saying, do you think this horse will stay?
Yo, look, I mean, I can't give my opinion. I haven't ridden the horse. He's had 1 start at a mile. He did win by 5 lengths. Do I think he's going to get that far back? No, not really, because he's going up in trip to 2,200. He's got a handy gate of 5. I think last time over 1,400 he was dropped out because of the gate and in typical Kanamea style. But I think naturally the horse is going to be able to hold a spot. But, obviously I can't answer the ifs on whether he will stay or not. Obviously out of a speedy family from the mom side, that makes things a bit questionable. But 1 start at a mile, 1 by 5, he certainly got that trip. And I think we'll find out on Saturday whether he'll get the 2,200.
We don't have long to wait.
Sorry?
We don't have long to wait until Saturday.
No, we don't have long to wait. We don't have long to wait until I knock on your door for a loan. Lionel, next one.
We got Gladiatorian, and we're going 20 to 1 on Gladiatorian.
20 to 1 on Gladiatorian. Do you think this horse will stay the trip, Joe?
I saw, it's the first jockey I saw this morning at Summerveld was Sean.
Did you see him first or his teeth first?
I said to him, is he sponsored by Colgate now? It's actually, he's good, eh? He's had them fixed, well done.
Previously when we used to interview Sean Veal, it was like pulling teeth. So thankfully he's got those in
know,
place now. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's great news.
I know sponsors in South Africa have paid for all sorts of things for jockeys, but I think that's got to be a first.
Yeah. There's plenty of ivory lying around there.
Listen, here's the thing that I don't understand. I said to him, surely you're going to win the July. He said, no, 8 on 18 is going to win. I said to him, surely you go for your own horse. Yeah, he'll be running. He'll be flying at them. So
He will be flying at
Yeah,
them.
he'll
He's
be a
a very,
quartet horse, so.
he is a very, very honest horse.
yeah, it's a really good horse. You can count on this horse all day long.
And
Twice
he
in
has
some
won
days.
on July Day before, but he won that sprint race, the race before the lights went out,
Hey, don't even talk about that.
if you remember correctly.
Money House was favourite that day. We had Christophe Soumillon riding for us.
Oh, that's right. And the lights and your race
He
never
was the
ran.
only jockey that wanted to ride, allegedly.
Oh, is it? Well, let's not bring that.
Let's not
back.
bring this.
Do you remember that incident?
That's a champagne, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it was. They
Well,
were
it's a
full of. They were
champagne.
full of crack. Yeah.
No,
so,
Gladiatorian's a runner.
okay, so Gladiatorian's a runner. Do you guys agree?
I do. I think he's going very well this prep. I think he's an extremely honest horse. You can count on him. But I do think he's going to get a long way back. So there's going to have to be a lot of pressure up front for a horse like him to be making up the ground from where I see him finding himself in the run.
And Samanga?
Yes, so, well, this was got a great turn of foot, and, you know, we all said, see it again was unlucky, very unlucky with Winchester, and, you know, and this horse came up and proved us wrong, because the way he went and fetched see it again over that 14, you know, I know he's a very big horse, but he put it down, and I think this horse knows the line. As the line came, he just put his head right there and got up. Listen, the next run, obviously, you know, I think what a great ride by Callan on Dave, and you know, and having also Oriental putting up his game there. But for me, I think two big question mark. First time distance. Yes, he's a strong boy, and listen, as I explained earlier, he's coming from John 16, so he will be able to loop at any time that he wants. But will it be a right move that if he does it too soon? So we must sit and wait, and maybe try and loop at the 6. So there's a lot of question mark, because, as I say, the front runners or the horses that are going to be holding the pace, they're going to be galloping, and they've proven themselves that they can go the distance at that pace.
Okay. I think it's carrying too much weight, to be honest, and that's my personal opinion. I think he's a very good horse. Wouldn't like this horse to be carrying 60 kilos over 2,200. Right, Lionel, next one. Are we coming now to the last few, aren't we?
Last 3 correct. We got immediate edge, 10-1.
Right, 10-1 immediate edge. He's here. He's here. I mean, wouldn't it be great, you coming back from Australia, back home? You've had a great run of form since you arrived back, and now to win your first July since you've come back home. Just tell us quickly how you got were you always scheduled to get the ride? Because my understanding was that Ryan Munger was promised the ride when he rode it here, when he won, whilst he was over from Canada. And he approached the De Kock team and he said, look, if this horse gets into the July, please, I want to come back from Canada to ride it. How did that all work out?
To be honest, I got back, I was obviously searching for a July ride, and I didn't think he had much hope of getting into the July. Obviously, the Jubilee wasn't a win-in-your-in type of race.
No.
And then I think obviously he won so well under the hands. He put his hands up, and there's a lot of talk about him getting in. So I obviously put my name in the hat, and yeah, I got my opportunity. I wasn't necessarily trying to take anyone else's food out of their mouths, but the opportunity presented,
Yeah, but
and
you
I was
are the
happy to
stable
take
rider
it.
now. Yeah, so you are the stable rider. So they said to you, Callan, you've got the ride, provided you cut your hair.
Yeah, get a few 100 grams off.
Yeah. And it's great. And how's he been since you got on top of him? Because you didn't ride him in a race, or you haven't ridden him in a race yet, so how's he been?
Yeah, I've only had the last 2 weeks to get to know the horse, but you know, from that 2 weeks, I can tell everyone that he's a proper horse. He's a good horse. and he's certainly capable of winning Group 1 races, and he's on that path. Obviously, this is his 7th start, so, for any horse to try and do it this early in their career, it is going to be tricky. So I'm, going to be relying on his ability to get him over the line in a race like this. But I certainly have a lot of confidence in his ability, and I can confirm he's in a very good space going into the race.
I want to give you a quick stat, Joe. When Immediate Edge won his maiden, he won it 2 days before 8 on 18 won the Met.
Sure. Now they're running against each other.
Now they're running against each other. Does it mean anything to you?
Look, I've
Food
had
for thought.
Yeah, listen, I've had horses with Mike, great trainer, everybody knows. But exceptional planner and placer of a racehorse.
Yeah.
Exceptional.
And it's coming at a weight, really, that it shouldn't really be coming in at, because theoretically it should be rated a lot higher.
I've literally experienced this with Mike, as you know. I had a horse with a lot of horses, but I had a good horse with him, and he laid out a plan and executed it to Group 1 victory.
Yeah.
And even though he's only had 7 starts, even though he's only a 3-year-old, like, no disrespect, if he was trained by a lot of other people,
Pete Pompey's.
he'd be carrying 57 kilos or 56 kilos. So Mike's placed this horse perfectly. Callan's riding really well. Came back, did our podcast, started getting winners straight away.
Was that the
Big
recipe?
Big runner.
Big runner?
Big runner.
What are you offering, by the way? Immediate Edge?
10 to 1. 10
Sorry?
to 1.
Yeah, that's
10 to 1.
10 to 1.
That's a big price.
10 to 1? Are there takers at 10? Who's got more than 10 to 1 here? How's about at 12? Because Callan Murray's here, can we give you 11?
We'll do a 12
We'll do it 12.
for Callum.
Do 12.
I can't eat after ride 53.
No, he can't eat. He can't eat.
Can bring me a pasta after the race.
Samanga.
However, Nico,
is-
just to inform you, the 12 will only be around for the next 3 minutes, so you need to jump on if you'd like to get a bit of
jump
12
on.
to 1.
Jump on. It's a call to action. Jump on quickly. Samanga, is he a danger?
One question that I just would like to ask Callan now. Where do you see yourself
In the race?
Yeah, where do you see yourself in the race?
Yeah, it's tricky. He obviously raced quite keen, but I do think I've got horses around me. Where do I see myself? I think there's going to be a good amount of pressure. Don't want to put this horse under too much pressure. So, yeah, being a young horse, I want him to try and relax and see out the trip. Obviously, I've still got to make that plan with the 2 big bosses, but I think they would agree that we want to try and keep a smooth running transit, whether that might be a pair further back. I think that gives him the best opportunity to finish off well.
Just in terms of the draw, here in South Africa, by the way, Michael, we've taken the America's lead, your saddlecloth, in certain provinces, sorry. Your saddlecloth is your gate.
Yeah.
Which is American style, but that's the way that Hollywood Bets run their operations. So Cape Town and Durban do it that way. Port Elizabeth and Joburg do it the traditional way of doing the draw.
Yeah,
for the
I
horse.
noticed that. We obviously do it we don't do it that way in our country. And my local track actually is a place called Chester, and draw bias there is probably the biggest in the country.
Yeah.
We've got 60-something racecourses in the UK, and Chester's the most.
So low draws.
Low draws. It's a left-handed circular mile. So the draw is vital, and I've heard you guys talking about the draw today. I've looked at the configuration of your track. It looks as if
It's like Chester backwards.
it looks like it's important, but it doesn't. It looks like there's a few straights and long straights and.
Yeah, the running's about the same, Michael.
Yeah.
It's about 4 to about 2.5 furlongs.
Right. Okay.
From when you turn for home.
And from a stats point of view, I guess you're the man to. From a stats point of view, is it a huge advantage the draw or?
No.
Well, Michael,
No.
to answer your question, horses that are drawn wide out have won this race several times. From
Yeah.
draw 20, actually. There's a
Also-
maximum field
Yeah.
of
See, that
20.
just doesn't. If you're drawn 20 at Chester, you're
Yeah,
a non-runner. People just pull them out.
There's a lot
But
of
a
pressure
big
going.
difference, there's no false rail in the UK.
Yeah, that's true.
It actually makes
Yeah.
it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Goodwood's another race course. No false rail. You get, often, like, if you get into trouble on the rail, over here they'll fan out. But yeah.
But fascinating to hear Samanga. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Samanga.
You got it right first time.
Fascinating to hear.
You should become a broadcaster.
But I was fascinated to listen to him before, because when he said, if you're sat there in behind on the inside rail, then it can be a wicked place to play. You know, if anything, either horses are still going forward, or if they're dropping back, they're right on your... And whereas we think, if you go wide, if you pull wide at any stage at my local track, you might as well give in. You have to just ride for luck. If you're at the back and on the inside rail, okay, well, that's where you got. Because if you go wide, you've got no chance. At least if you stay on the inside rail, you ride for luck, and if it doesn't happen, we say, just that's one of those things. You've got to accept it. But it's fascinating to hear that actually sometimes when you break into the final bend, to almost come on the outside and to get that clean run, it can be effective.
And take it from him, because you've ridden in a celebrity race before.
Oh no, let's not talk about that.
Let's tell him about that. I want to know about that.
Well, about 7 or 8 years ago, one of our members of staff, sadly, was very, very poorly, and she had cancer, unfortunately. So I decided, I was retired and I was starting to put a little bit of weight on. You guys will find out in a few years. But I started putting a little bit of weight on. I thought, I've got to do something. I find it, I'm quite a social person. I love going out for drinks with my owners, and, you know, I'm just a social person. And the weight was coming on, and I thought, I'm going to have to do something to focus my mind. So I thought, right, I'm going to ride in this race for charity. It was Prince Charles, who is now our king. So it was the King Charles charity race at Ascot. So I had 2 months to lose 2 stone. What's 2 stone in kilos?
I wouldn't know.
It's about 14 or 15 kilos. I had to lose that in 2 months, and I had to learn how to ride. I'd never sat on a horse in my life. We weren't allowed to ride motorbikes. We weren't allowed to sit on horses, go on jet skis, go skiing, nothing as a footballer. So I'd never sat on a horse before, but I had no excuse, did I? I've got my own stables. We've got 100 and something horses. Yeah. So I thought, right, 2 months, lose all that weight, do something for charity, and ride at Ascot. And I managed to just get down to the weight. I finished second in the race, and I'm here to tell the story. Yeah. It was very scary, but
very
well played. Yeah, that's excellent. And I know I listened to an interview of your trainer Hugo Palmer saying you are the social secretary. He calls you the social secretary. So it's
well, I've always thought, you know, at racing stables, I try to employ the best people in the best roles, and I always look at it like if I was a football chairman, because that's basically what I am at my stables. So if I was a manager, I'd be thoroughly annoyed if the chairman started telling me how to train my players or pick the team or things like that. So my idea of my role is to put the best people, the best jockey, the best trainer, the best staff, etc., in their roles, and then just support that. Obviously understand everybody's roles, be there for them, listen to them, structure the company, structure the business. But in terms of doing the trainer's job, then I absolutely leave that to him. So, yeah, I've taken that one thing from my footballing world and applied it into the racing game.
Well, he's deeply respectful of you of doing that. Just a quick question now. So in regards to 8 on 18, so you're drawn 10, 8 on 18 is drawn right next door to you 11. Got some sort of strategy going on there, because I know Faree, who, by the way, folks, latest chat about Richard Faree, because he hasn't ridden this week. He booked off on Sunday, I think it was, after his rides, and he's apparently got a throat infection, or he's had flu and whatever it is, but talk is that he will be good to go. He's not going to ride in Port Elizabeth tomorrow, but he will be good to go for Saturday. So that's what we're hearing, and there'll be no talk of a jockey change, certainly not from what we hear at the moment. But in terms of what he's thinking versus what you're thinking, the fact that you're drawn together, how does that affect the whole play out of the race?
Look, it doesn't change that much for me. I've still got to ride my horse for what he is on the day, and I think there is going to be a very good pace in the race. But, you know, if I happen to find myself on the back of 18, 8 on 18, I'm obviously not in a bad spot at all, and I've got one to track into the race, and he's obviously also going to be competitive if he's coming from behind me, which will keep my horse honest. So, yeah, I was very happy to be drawn right around him.
Okay, that's fine. That's it for Immediate Edge. Who do we move on to next?
Okay, we're going to move on to last year's winner. The guys have been clamoring for 12-1 on Immediate Edge. So to get 12-1 on Oriental Charm, it's going to be half the time, 5 minutes to get your bets on 12-1.
So 12-1 about Oriental Charm. Last year's winner in the race carried 53 kilos. Now has to carry 60. Everyone cheered when he got a draw of 1. Was that the right thing for everyone to do, Simanga?
Yes, he flies out the gator. You know, as a rider, I would really like to ride a horse like this that takes the jockey and say, hey, this is where I want to be, and you must try and make me go your paces. Because that's what kind of horse he is. And I just still remember the field on last year where I thought I had the race. I thought I had a race won, and there's this animal coming, flying, and I'm thinking, no, I got him. I think I got him. And he just fought me, and we hit the line strong. But he just wanted to get past my horse. They even nudged me because they were going so fast.
Yeah.
But listen, I will say still Cousin Casey ran his heart out that day. But this horse here, being in front, and he just galloped. I came to him, and he's just still. I just wished I would have been. Maybe he came on his outside because at least he wouldn't see me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But listen, for me, this is the horse, and
that's the right horse.
His last run behind Dave again. Wow. Listen, Kellen can tell you it was very hard to come past that horse, and when there were like a 50 meters, or was it 60, where you hit, like your horse had his head in front, and this horse came back at him. And the line came, but I think before they even get to the pull-up, Oriental Charm is in front. So the people out there, he just needed further. And yes, Kellen rode a top race, but this guy, yeah.
He's a horse to beat.
He's a horse to beat.
Mm-hmm. He's the horse to beat Oriental Charm. What are your thoughts? By the way, what a ride on Dave the King. I mean, that will always live with you. That was a superb ride to win a big Group 1.
No, thank you very much. And obviously found myself in a good spot in that race beyond Oriental Charm. I think he's a very good horse, extremely tough galloper, but I'm not really a fan of the gate for him. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the outside. Sometimes it's a lot easier to come from the outside and keep it smooth, whereas he might have to hunt a bit from the inside. And I think he's going to be kept very honest. So I think personally that's going to make things a lot harder for him this time around.
The fact that he has to give weight, Joe, to everything, really, is he still in with a lively winning chance at 60 kilos?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Is, yeah.
Pings the gates. We've actually booked one of our mares to him. He's going to stud after this. So I'm hoping he retires as a dual winner. I wish I'd cottoned on to him earlier. I would have had more of an even spread with the Real Prince and him.
But he's offering you 12-1.
Okay, we'll talk just now. Just more longer than 5 minutes because I'm busy at the moment.
You don't want to go to the toilet afterwards and just delay it a bit further.
No, but Bling's right. This is a really good racehorse, this. And I'm sorry to say I disagree with Callan because he can get out quick and he can lead. And he's hard to pass. 12-1's a very, very generous offering. And I could see his name following up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, very few horses win the race back to back. But
very few. But he's a good horse.
He is a good horse. So 12-1 about Oriental Charm. Then, who have we got?
Okay, we got the favorite for this year's race, 8 on 18 at 2-1.
Now,
2-1.
2-1, 8 on. What is he trading at the moment? 8 on 18.
16 to 10. You got other bookmakers at 14 to 10.
So 14 to 10 and 16 to 10. You'll give 2-1. Is there any possible way that we can do 22 to 10 for the crowd here tonight? I mean, I'm asking for 22 to 10. I think maybe to be the
But are
leading
you asking
bookmaker.
to have a bet, or are you asking on behalf of the crowd?
No, I'm asking about. I mean, I always speak on behalf of the people.
Oh,
I'm a
Che
people's
Guevara.
person. Always. 22 to 10.
22 to 10.
22 to 10. Right. So I've got that for you out there. Now, you tell your story about you talking yourself into backing a horse.
yeah.
I've actually talked myself into backing this horse because I booked into the hotel this morning. You'll never guess, and this is not a joke. So there's 4 digits that make up your room number. They added up to 11. I walked into the door, through the door, sorry, not into the door, otherwise I'd knocked my head. Through the door, and at 11:11. So I'm just telling you that.
Sorry, can I just jump in 1 second?
That's why I wanted 22, because 11 times 2 is 22.
We'll give 5 to 2 on 8 on 18. No one has
there we
ever
go.
given that price.
Right, 5 to 2.
5 to 2.
Get stuck in.
Right, now, let me say my piece first, why I like it, and then we'll move along. The reason why I like it is because everyone's going on about the fact that it carries 57. 3-year-olds that carry that weight don't generally win the July, but yeah, that may be true, but we've got to talk about who the opposition is. And when those horses that didn't win carrying hefty weights as 3-year-olds, who were they racing up against? I'm a huge 8 on 18 fan, more so because of his win in the Daily News 2000, where he turned it on. Richard took him round horses and he turned it on. I know there's more horses in the race than there were in the Daily News. It's a much bigger field, but I am being sold on 8 on 18 after the Daily News run, and I think that he's going to be an easy winner. Now that's my talk. Now let's hear it from all the experts that are racing against him. Samanga, you
Yes.
obviously disagree because you're chuckling away there.
No, listen. For me, I just feel if we have
Half an hour?
No. If we have the previous race, just at about the 800, if they can put up on the screen and let the people see where the money is going, because when you watch it, you would like it even more. And that was a 2,000, and now extra 200. This horse will eat it up. So if they do have that a clip, just from the 800 to the finish, let the people see where their money is going through. So just refresh their memory.
So
Let's
to be
see.
clear, you're a fan.
Definitely.
Yeah, he is agreeing.
Every
I thought he
morning
was
when
gonna
I'm there, I
disagree.
take pictures of him. I got plenty. He's very, very, very good looking and a massive horse.
Yeah, he's a very, very good horse, and I believe he's just in a different category to what he's racing against. As we said earlier, Joe, and I said I'd come back to this, my feeling is it isn't the strongest renewal of the race. That's why he'll be a 3-year-old carrying 57, and he'll put his name into the record books. Personally, that's what I feel. Is he your biggest danger from Immediate Edge's point of view?
I think absolutely. I think he's actually very well weighted at 57 with the cap for the 3-year-olds. He's a proper horse, and yeah, there's probably no doubt he is the one to beat, but
You're out
I'm
there to do
hoping
it.
I'm
You're
the
hoping to
one
do
that
it.
does that.
Michael, just to say that Joe did say it was a handicap. Well, it is a handicap, but it comes with it's sort of bastardized handicap, if I can say that, because despite it being a handicap, 3-year-olds maximum weight is 57. If you worked out the rating, taking into account the weight for age of 8 on 18, he should be carrying 59 on his actual rating, but because there's a cap for 3-year-olds at 57, he carries 2 kilograms lower than if it was a true handicap. Hence, that plays into part
Right.
2.
Yeah.
So
And at his age, he could still be improving as well, I guess.
he could be his rating plus. As with any 3-year-old in the race, so could Immediate Edges, so could On My Honours.
Yeah.
Joe, you brassed him. Why?
Oh, we
Why
are
have you brassed
stalled.
this horse?
Okay, a lot of things. So
What does brass, Tim, mean?
Brass.
Brass, go
Brass
against
means
it.
give it a miss.
Don't fancy him. Right.
Well, I've got reasons.
No, brassing means give it a miss.
Give it a miss, yeah. I'm not saying, look, obviously he's a good horse. But as an owner, when jockeys get off and you hear comments that they make, I like to listen to that kind of thing. And I'll never forget what Striker told me when he rode Seat Again behind 8 on 18. And he felt that...
In the Met? In the Met.
In the Met. He felt that he didn't really just kick and fly. It was more like a grind, okay? For him to grind past 17 horses, it's really hard. If he wins, no doubt, I mean, he's a great horse, obviously. And it's got nothing to do with the fact that I'm allergic to a few of the connections. But I don't think as a 3-year-old, I just don't think as a 3-year-old, can he go and fetch Oriental Charm and swerve around 1 or 2 horses? I don't think I would be taking even 5 to 2. Is he a good horse? 100%. Of course. Would I like to own him? 1,000,000%. But I do know that I would like to think Mr. Johnson would rather win the race at the end of the month.
Yeah. But then the question begs as to why, so Michael, again, they took a while to actually say they were running in this race, which prevented all the anti-post merchants from backing this horse. So no one wanted to back this horse because, as you know, you lose your money if you're anti-post. And they left it till the last minute to declare this horse as a runner in the race, saying that they were 50-50 about whether they wanted to run or not, depending on what they agreed. And they eventually said, no, we're going to take our chance. They're going to run in this race, and there's a Group 1 in 3 weeks' time, 3 to 4 weeks' time at the end of July, 4 weeks' time, and they're going to run in that too, and that'll be it for him, and he'll go to stud.
Look, Spling's right. The last 800 meters was super impressive. Jeez, it was impressive. Of course, you'd have to be blind not to say that. But this is a handicap. And not always the best horse wins the handicap.
Yeah, but I've just explained
Yeah,
that it's 2 kilograms well in, if you believe the merit ratings.
Yeah, he's 2 kilograms. Listen, you might as well also tell Michael that he's rated 129, which is 15 points off Frankel, which is madness.
He did it last
No,
time.
not, I can't. He can win, 100%. I'm not just going anti. It's a hard race for 3-year-olds to win. 57 kilos, a lot of pudding. You saying he should be carrying 59. I can't disagree with that. That's what the form
That's
tells.
what the stats say, yeah.
That's what the stats tell us. Can he fetch Oriental Charm? I don't think so.
Samanga, just a quick comment, you said?
No, I was saying the last time, obviously, 2,000 meters, and he did he looped with 60 kilos, and yet now we got 57, and you worried about. He looped with 60
He
kilos
looped
last time.
7 horses.
No, he looped. How many was it? 4.
5 or 6.
Yeah, from the fence, he came and he went right around them with 60 over 2,000 meters, and it's almost like he was dropped at the 200
Are you
and he
worried
was
about
gone.
the passage through then? Are you
I'm
saying
worried about, I think
you're
about
worried
the
about the passage through?
yeah.
Richard is too sharp for that. Have you ever seen Richard waiting? Richard is the only guy who can, even from the fence, he can be drawn very well. He'll sit at the back, or he can drawn on the middle to the outside. He'll take that horse into the fence, and he'll still take that horse right around them and go fetch.
So do you think that if they ran this race 20 times, you'd win it 12 times?
No.
Definitely.
Well, I don't think that, but they're only going to run it once.
Oh,
That's the
You're
bottom
taking,
line.
apart from Sunbet's giving you 5 to 2, right? It's a bit skinny.
Okay, so Sunbet, what are you going to lay? Are you going to open up
No,
your
I'm
own?
not
You're not going to
licensed
open
to
up your
lay.
own book. 5 to 2, guys. I would say take whatever you've got and put it on, but that's me personally. Not everyone agrees.
Yeah, done.
Guys, we're going to wrap it up. I've got a few questions left to ask everyone very quickly. This is the important part because some little nuggets of wisdom come from this last session here. Joe, you've got 2 runners, you said, for
Yeah.
Glistian. 2 horses that you own, run on the day in the other races. Talk to us quickly about them. Can the punters back them?
Yeah, I'd put Money House in the quartet. I know he hasn't run for a long time, but he did himself a little mischief after last year's campaign. Then we were going to bring him back for the Jubilee, I think, and then there was a lot of rain in Joburg. We didn't want to run him and come into this race for a second start. So we're rather going to come in fresh. He'll be there or thereabouts. And then in the 11th, Bling's riding Tamaris for us. She's just been a revelation since we treated her ulcers, and started riding her with a bit more, from a bit further back. And Samanga will tell you, she gives a good feel and a good kick. She got a good draw. She worked really well this morning. So I'd back Tamaris. Yeah.
So you're backing Tamaris. Do you have a price for us, Lionel, on Tamaris?
In the 11th.
In race 11? Because if you can boost those odds for Joe tonight, it would be fantastic.
You can continue the discussion. I'll come back with the
Okay,
odds
come
for
back to me. So Tamaris, we've got there. Samanga, you've got 11 rides on the day. Just give us 2 or 3 that you think you got winning chances with.
Obviously, I'm running for Gareth and Mr. Van Zel Senior. And the horse that really gave me very, very good workout on Tuesday was King Palace, going the 3,000 meters. And, I feel that his last win, how can I put it? So he hit the line very strong, and I've been battled to bring him back, like to pull him up. He just wanted to gallop, and then now going the 3,000 meters, and Mr. Van Zel Senior, he said he wants to do a repeat of obviously when I rode for them Path of Victory, winning the Gold Cup.
The Gold Cup, yeah.
So he has in his head that this is the kind of horse that can take them to the Gold Cup, and that's why he's running at the Gold Vase. And again, at my next best again in a 11th, I did put a leg over the filly. She's moving very well, and she got a lovely draw. And Gareth and Mr. Senior Van Zel, they're very confident.
Okay, so it's King Peles in race 4, Tamaris in race 11. Have you got a price on Tamaris?
Tamaris 8-1.
Tamaris 8-1, race 11. And then Samanga's ride in race 4, King Peles.
If I'm not mistaken, I think King Palace is 3-1 or 33-10.
We'll give you
I'll give 4-1 on King Palace.
4-1, King Peles. Callan Murray. You've got other rides in the day. What are you tipping the public out there?
I rode a horse named Yippee Kai last time. It was his second start. I think I put him under a lot of pressure, and he sort of folded a bit late. I think I've got the good gate again in gate 1. I think I'll probably ride him to get the trip a bit more comfortably, not put him under as much pressure, and he's only got 2.5 lengths to make up on the favourite. And I know the mistakes I made. I'm hoping he can sort of turn something like that around.
So that's Yippee Kaye in race 6, number 1. Lionel, Yippee Kaye, race 6, number 1.
I'll get back to you, Nico.
Okay, so that's Callan. And anything else? What about Spumante Dolce?
Yeah, look, she's obviously a very good horse, but that race is very competitive, and she's got a wide gate. I'm obviously hoping to get another Group 1 to my CV, but look, she's doing very well. I'm really just hoping there.
I have spoken to Andrew Fortune for the sake of the punters out there. He is extremely confident on his ride Double Grand Slam. I think he stuck the world into it. And he doesn't really want to know about Double Grand Slam, so that's for all of those that are here tonight. I did have a word with him last night at length about the day. Have you got a price on Yippee Kaye?
25-1.
25-1 if you want to back Yippee Kaye each way. Well, Michael Owen has sat here listening to everyone's comments. I'm sure you're much the wiser for it.
Yeah.
These guys are certainly going to help you, and I promise you if you listen to them, you'll be more often in the winning queue than not. But you've had a look at the card. It was sent to you whilst you were still in the UK making your way over here. What appeals to you on the day?
Well, do you know what? I hate taking my family to the races and then my wife saying, I'm going to pick that one because of the colours and pick that one because of the name and things like that. And I'm that person today. I mean, the only angle I've got in is from the heart, really. When I came, I was here. I was actually in Johannesburg last year. It was last year, wasn't it? Yeah, for the Qatar World Cup, and I came down to South Africa to work on SuperSport for the television and to cover that. And fortunately, while I was down here for probably about a month or so, Mike de Kock invited me to his stable. So I went and spent a day with him on one of the days that I had off and had a wonderful time. So because I know Mike, and because now I feel as if I know Callan, then I'm gonna have to go for immediate edge in the big one.
Okay, so you're tipping immediate edge.
Cheers.
There we go. So that's you nailing your colours to the mast. What about any other race that you might have picked up on anything? Not yet, no?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
I mean, he sounds like he owns half the horses at the meeting, so I'll be speaking to you after the event.
You're okay, Michael. You're okay.
From my perspective, I always tend to give something on the day to the punters out there. So just from a commentating point of view, I have been extremely impressed in my commentary down in the Eastern Cape on a horse called Another Dance for Me. So much so that I've approached Alan Greer on several occasions to say, why on earth have you taken every single other 2-year-old filly of yours around the country, and bear in mind, this is a trainer from the worst centre in the country. With every single 2-year-old filly that he's taken, he's won every feature Group 1 in the country for 2-year-old fillies. And this, I think, is better than them. And it's the first time she's travelling out. So she's won 4 out of 4, and she has her first visit out of her province to come down to Natal to run. So that's my tip for you for Saturday, and that is Another Dance for Me. In the juvenile fillies feature. Michael Owen, a great honour to be on the panel with you. I hope that you enjoy your first visit to the Hollywood Bets Durban in July. I know you will enjoy it. Just one word of advice. They do have a 13th race after the 12th race, and it's very interesting to watch. But please don't participate.
Okay, I'm
the
intrigued.
13th race. But you are intrigued. Stay behind and watch that. Joe D'Amata from Gliston, always a pleasure working with you. We've been at it for quite a while, and well done with your podcast. It's attracting rave reviews, and you've been streaming it on
We
your
streamed
channels
this one
tonight.
live in collaboration with the Sunbet team.
Wonderful stuff.
So I'm sure millions of people have watched.
Billions.
No, let's go with millions.
Okay, let's go with millions. Okay. All right.
And yeah, I don't want to crack 2 eggs over my head like I did with Green with Envy. I can't have 8 on 18. I'm leaving it at that.
Okay, all right. We won't elaborate and press the point. Callan Murray, all the best for the big day. Welcome back to SA. I think our racing's much richer for you, but you're back home and it looks like you're loving it.
Yeah, very happy to be home. My wife arrived last night with my dog from a long flight from Australia, so I'm a very happy man and looking forward to hopefully a great weekend's racing.
Wonderful stuff. And Simonga Khumalo, you've won this race before. It might well be it again. You're riding at the top of your game. I know you've had a lot of injuries, but it looks like you're so fit and strong. You're even showing me your muscles in the one private box the other day. Not that you needed to. You are stronger than me. But it's great to have you back riding at top of your game. And I know on big days you always rise to the occasion. So all the best, Bling.
No, thank you so much, Nick, and thanks to Sunbet for having us. And we can only give so much of what we know, and it's up to the public to put their heads together too. And but before we wrap up, we'd like to have a 400 meters of Nico's.
For the July.
Yeah, for the main race. We just would like to hear what he
Okay,
thinks.
well, if you press me, I'll have to do something. Not that I was
It would be nice. Let's
normally,
hear.
I don't commentate in Natal, but if I was to commentate on the Hollywood Bets Durban July, it would probably go something like this when they turned for home. Oriental Charm still led them into the home straight in South Africa's greatest race. Oriental Charm by a length and a half. From on the outside, racing in second, My Best Shot. Immediate edges down the center. 8 on 18 is making up good ground on the outside. On My Honor comes through down the inside with Salukwi. Into the last 200, Oriental Charm is clinging on. Immediate edge, 8 on 18, running on down the outside. The Real Prince and Salukwi. It's a blanket finish, but Richard Faree finds the front on 8 on 18, and 8 on 18 will dominate the running of the Hollywood Bets Durban July. Second place, Oriental Charm. Third will go to Immediate Edge, and Salukwi was fourth.
Oh, shit.
Thank you. Whoop, whoop.
Let's show these guys some love.
Thank you.
Let's show them some love, guys.
Thank
Our
you very
panelists
much.
right here. Absolutely amazing stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not disappear our panel. I'm going to ask you guys to just stay on stage for a little bit as I call upon right now our COO of Sunbet. Ladies and gentlemen, Gideon Mann, everyone.
A pleasure to meet you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. Well done, Joe. Well done, mate.
Hi, everyone. I hope you won't mind if you indulge me for just a little bit as I paint a picture for all of you. Right now, as we enjoy our evening in this beautiful Sun International venue, someone said we are sitting in the dark purple heart of competitor country. I'm not sure what they meant, but it's a hard thing for us to show up here. The first time Sunbet is at the Durban July with a proper horse racing product. And it's even harder for us to show off. But over the next few days, weeks and months, we are committed to showing not just those present in this room, but all of South Africa, that you don't need to go to Hollywood, Los Angeles, to get the best betting and horse racing experience. You don't need to go to Hollywood, Los Angeles, to experience a good time and be amongst the stars. And you don't need to go to Hollywood, Los Angeles, to be treated like a star. Who says Hollywood, Los Angeles is best? Only those who haven't experienced the local entertainment platform we are building at Sunbet. In fact, I have it on good authority that going to Hollywood, Los Angeles, the only experience you will get is plastic, past its prime, and embarrassing to mention in public. Looking around this room, I want to thank Virath and the Sabaya team, Simon, our Sunbet CEO, and the Sunbet team, and all the panelists for a great evening. I'm honestly seeing more stars here than Hollywood's Walk of Fame. More people committed to joining us as we put Sunbet Boulevard on the map. And more importantly, I see the right people here to help us further define the ultimate racing experience for punters that love to punt. And if you're looking for signs that we are serious, I can assure you there will be signs. We are planning on unleashing Uber Golds as a new premium standard. We are going to be reveling in our players moving from the common to the caviar, swapping porcelain pots for pots of gold, and showing up in diamonds, not diamantes. The horses might have some other firm's name on them today, but we know that local is lekker. And 50 years of bringing the best entertainment under the African sun to the best people in Africa, there will be signs that the world is changing. Thank you, everyone, for indulging me, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Remember, Sunbet is the way to bet. Get more from every moment, and please, enjoy having fun with us. We want to have fun with you, and enjoy this beautiful facility after the event. Thank you.
Sure. I'm sure when all of us grow up, we want to be like Gideon Mann right there. Thank you so much. Let's give him a big round of applause again. My man. Our panelists, we do have something for you guys to present to you guys in a bit. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our CEO of Sunbet, Simon Gregory, and Sibaya's General Manager, Virat Gabri, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. We've kept you quite a long time already, so I'm going to be short. Thanks to our panelists for a really informative evening. Yeah, lots to think about for tomorrow, for Saturday's races. Really, thanks very much. Thanks to the Sunbet team for pulling off a fantastic evening. Thanks to Sabaya and Virat for his team. Not a spot of purple in the whole house. I'm pleased about that. And thanks for you for coming this evening and making such a warm and enjoyable evening. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Simon. Thank you, everybody. It's been, I think, the first event where we have Sunbet and Sabaya together. It's part of our strategy to take racing into. I mean, we know Durban's a big place for racing, and to everybody that's come out here today, thank you very much. I think it's great attendance, a lot of excitement, and you can feel the July. And to the panelists, to Michael, and to the jocks, and to Nico, you were here, I think, last year as well. And I tipped the Oriental Charm last year, but I can tell you now, I think you're on the wrong one this year. But anyway, guys, thanks a lot. And to everybody, I just hope you enjoyed the hospitality. Now that you're in this venue, I think on the other side, there's more activity. That's the casino side. So you can go across and have some fun on the slots and tables as well. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you so much, our general manager. All right, our panelists, we do have something for you guys. In fact, Michael Owen has gifted our panelists here. We've got something for you guys. And Michael, we have something for you as well from SK. Somanga Kumalo has gifted you something. We're just going to bring that up right now. And you can see the guy coming up on stage. He promised you last year that this year was going to be something epic, and I think they really delivered. Our sportsbook specialist here, Vinal, along with the rest of the Sunbet team and Sibaya. Let's give them a big round of applause once more, guys. What a beautiful, beautiful evening.
Thanks very much, Mike.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, just take note that Michael Owen will be available to take pictures with you guys tomorrow between 12 and 3. He is going to be here at Sibaya, so please get here. You guys can obviously come through with the family, with the kids as well, and take your pictures as well as this weekend as well. Details you can find on social media.
Do you think it'll fit me? Think it'll fit me?
It's a bit tight.
Yeah.
Also,
No,
please
can't
look
do
out
that.
for
I can't
our
do that.
Sunbet promotional staff team. They've got vouchers to give you guys. It is 500 Rand worth of vouchers. Just look out for them. They're wearing the golfers, okay? You look out for it. That's 250 Rand for a horse racing bet and 250 Rand for a casino bet. Just look out for them. It is a voucher. They will be able to hand it to you. Just go up to them, give them your name, say hello, say something nice to them, and you get yourself a lovely voucher.
Lovely.
Thanks a lot.
One more time, let's make some noise for our panelists right here. Big round of applause. Thank you so much to all of you. A good night, safe travels, and all the best for this year's Durban July.
Well done,
We have a
guys.
photo?
Well done. Group photo. Is someone taking a photo?